I had a guy send me an email. He probably didn't want to watch all the shorts I did. I don't blame him. I didn't know anything about smoking. I got a good deal on this old country Pecos smoker because it was rusty and they'd been left outside when they shouldn't have been. Actually, I got it for $2.50 from Academy. So it was a good deal. I knew it was, but I didn't know what I was doing. I thought, wow, I got a really great smoker for a good price. And then you get into it like I did, not knowing anything, and then you read and you wreck briskets and light bulb finally comes on. This is for $2.50. This is a good deal, and arguably for $5 or $5.50, what they sell for full price, it's still a good deal. But I did do some modifications based on other videos I watched, and I also read Aaron Franklin's book. And the one thermometer you see on the firebox, you can see that's really a chimney fire monitor, temperature monitor, which is kind of crude, but I just kind of get kick out of seeing how hot the firebox is. I definitely wouldn't use it to cook. I went and got the more expensive Tell-True thermometer, mounted it lower with the 6-inch stem, which gives me much different temperatures than the one that came with the old country mounted on the top. It's a $15 thermometer. I think you kind of get what you pay for. The first brisket I had didn't come out good. The second one came out good, not great. And as you guys know, if you're interested in smoking, it all comes down to temperature control and time. And one thing, I also extended the stack. It's 28 inches from the elbow, based on what another guy said in the video in Aaron Franklin's book. And I also placed fire bricks on the inside of the firebox, as far as I could up around the side. So everywhere that the coal and wood is, it's basically got a fire brick. And I also took that insulating tape, it's more like felt, and did the firebox as well as the cooking chamber. And this stuff, you really never know how good it works because the variables are always so different. Another big change that I did from the last time that I cooked the brisket is I felt last time that, I want to get that fire going. I get my charcoal started and pour it in there, and I filled up the firebox with quite a bit of charcoal on the bottom. Then I think, well, I'll just have these bright red charcoals and just throw this wood on as I go. And well, that sounds like a good idea, but I learned that it's just a raging fire. And I spent the first hour and a half on the brisket that I cooked last time holding the lid open because everything I did just wasn't good enough to lower that temperature. So today I started out with much less coal, and I placed it away from the front of the firebox. In the front, I mean closest to the cooking chamber. And one thing I'm curious about, maybe somebody will know out there, and that is that if you look at the firebox and where the air exits underneath that flange, that baffle, that first third of the grill is quite a bit hotter. I mean, I never did the biscuit test. It's just too boring to me. It didn't interest me. I think I'd rather ruin a brisket. But they're definitely different temperatures, the way was set up before the modifications and the way now. The first third of the grill, just like plenty of these guys say that have tested it, it's hotter, and then it's not as hot in the middle. And then for some reason, even at the exit near the elbow where the air goes up the stack, that just doesn't cook as good. It's just not as hot. And I think you could have 1,000 thermometers on here and you get different temperature readings wherever you go. Personally, and I don't know this for sure, this isn't forced air. So where that hot air comes out of the firebox into the cooking chamber, I'd like to know what that looks like, but you don't because it's closed, it's black. Anything you put in there would melt, and it's filled with smoke. When you lift up the lid, all that smoke billows out from underneath the top of the clamshell, and you really don't know what's what. And not knowing anything, when I first got into smoking, I'm thinking, wow, look at this smoke coming out the stack. I'm just imagining the hot air coming up from the bottom of the firebox, underneath the baffle, along the cooking chamber, going over whatever it is I'm cooking, and exiting right out where the hole is at the end of the cooking chamber before it heads up the stack. But without any way to really test it, I don't think the air is going anywhere near as fast as it is across the food as it is once it goes vertical, because hot air rises and heads straight up out of the stack. I don't think that's going that way. And then I got thinking about it. It drives you crazy when you wreck stuff and you're hoping for a good outcome in smoking food. And I thought, well, this time, meaning today, this next cook, I will make sure that that lump charcoal in the wood isn't right up against the firebox closest to the cooking chamber, because that's what I think creates the hot spot. I could be wrong. I'll know today, because everything is about 4 inches back and I have a much smaller fire. But overall, I think I think pork's a piece of cake. It's hard to mess that up. Briskets, I still think I got a ways to go, but I'm going to move the meat next time. Now today I did that with the chicken, and I already know without looking in there, based on how long it takes to smoke chicken at this temperature, that it's going to be better than it would be had I put it where I put the other things I cooked, near the exit, near the stack. And, looking around now that I know more, you do get what you pay for with smokers. But you don't know anything. You know you like brisket, so you go out like me and you think, oh, wow. Now, $250, what do you expect? I got a good deal, I think. Even with the add-ons, I'm way ahead of the game dollar-wise. But you like brisket, you want to go out, you want to try it. And then you realize after you read more and you wreck a few things that you get what you pay for, and that is a lot of these smokers you see out in front of Home Depot, Lowe's, it's cheap metal. There's lots of leaks. It's just not set up right. I mean, you don't stand a chance in the very beginning. I thought up until about a week ago, you see these big, giant smokers that look like old submarines, and you think, God, who in the hell would want one of those? They must be going to fairs or doing it for a living on a corner. No, that's not. The reason that they're on small trailers, well, I'm not saying it's not all the time. I'm sure people do that. But the reason it's on a trailer is because to have a good smoker, it weighs a lot. The really good ones are double insulated. They're 1/4-inch steel. They're on a legitimate trailer because you just can't wheel that baby around like I can this thing. So, if you have the money and you really like to smoke, just try and wait until you can get like a good used one with 1/4-inch steel. And I didn't even think of looking at how the seams and the doors and the hinges fit when I bought this one, because I didn't know anything. But I figured for $250, who cares? I've dumped that in the slot machine in 10 minutes. So I've got it working pretty good now. And I learned a lot today. I'll tell you this, starting a way smaller fire worked way better for me than what I tried the last time. So I've learned a lot, and it really hasn't cost me too much, and it's been kind of fun. And I bitch about babysitting it the whole time to control the temperature, but I guess I like doing it. Or I'd just be going and buying my brisket someplace else. There's a good place that I get brisket in Madison. It's called the Tickled Pig, Madison, Georgia. And part of the reason the brisket's so good is because, number one, the guy knows what he's doing. And number two, he has a commercial indoor smoker. They're about $38,000. And the beauty of those is that they have dampers that regulates the temperature. So when he's going to smoke, let's say a 15-pound brisket for 15 hours, all he does is sets the temperature, and dampers are opening and closing, and it's maintaining that temperature. Now let's say for the worst possible scenario, you get a power failure, or it's got battery backup, or something else happens, the wood burns faster because it was drier, natural gas kicks on and finishes it off. So when you go into certain places, I know all places aren't like that, and you get this fantastic brisket regularly, that's why. It's like I said, it's temperature and time. And if you can master that, which a $38,000 commercial smoker can, you're going to have good brisket consistently. The next thing is what I think you get what you pay for, and that is with regard to the quality of brisket. Brisket actually comes in prime, which I've never bought, but I'm going to try one just for the heck of it. And if you go to a place like Costco, it's at least always choice, which is a hell of a lot different than select or, God forbid, ungraded meat. How much does that matter? I don't know. I was kind of surprised to find out that brisket was graded, because it's just a cheap, fatty cut of meat and everybody knows what you're getting. But it is. So the next time I'm going to try a prime at Costco, where I bought the last one I did, I think it was $7.50 a pound, something like that, for choice. But choice is pretty good. So in the last month of messing around with this, that's what I've learned about buying a smoker, not know anything, and kind of getting up to speed. And been a lot of fun so far. But I have my eye open for a good heavy-duty, legitimate smoker. The bigger the smoker, the easier it is to manage the temperature. It's just the way it is. The same way with aquariums and stabilized approaches on airplanes. You'd think it's the opposite. So that's what I've learned so far. If you were here, I'd give you a piece of this chicken if you came over. So have a good day.